In this lesson here, we are going to see how to create a budget. You cannot just make a budget out of thin air. It is very helpful to keep track of your regular expenses and income over a period of time, usually a few months, 3 to 5 months for sure. This will allow you to create a budget that is based on your regular habits. Because a budget is a plan for the future, it is based on estimates, not exact amounts that you earned and spent in previous months. A conservative budget underestimates income and overestimates expenses. If income exceeds expenses, you have a surplus. When making a budget, you can account for a surplus by allocating that amount to savings or an item such as unexpected expenses. By doing so, your income and expenses will be balanced. So what would be some advantages of preparing a conservative budget? Well, if you underestimate your income and overestimate your expense, then then you do a balanced budget there, you should have some money left over at the end of the month. How would you adjust a budget that had a deficit? Well, we learned in the previous lesson that you then need to prioritize your spending and see where you can cut back some of your expenses. So David plays bass in an alternative rock band. The band plays almost every weekend and has made a cross-Canada tour. David has made a careful record of his income and expenses for the past 5 months so that he can create a budget. What are the regular and variable income? And try and make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. If we're just looking at the income at this particular point, you've got to look at, it doesn't say where his income is coming from. But to figure out which is his regular and which is his variable, look at, are there any consistent amounts that you see month after month? And as we can see, there is $600 in each of these months. So that's a regular amount. There is another $600 in all of these months. So he has regular income of $1,200 per month. The ones that we have not circled would be classified as variable income. That changes from month to month for whatever reason. Maybe they've booked in a few extra gigs, or maybe he's received some money from somewhere else. Whatever the case might be, there is a bunch of variable income that takes place. So Part B says, what is the total source of income per month? So regular is $1,200. In September, his variable would be adding up those other 4 amounts, so it would have been $515. In October, if we add up his variable, it would also be $515. In November, it would have been $240. In December, his variable added up to $175, and in January, it added up to $614. We want to list the fixed and variable expenses in his budget. So what are things that are not going to change, and what are some things that might change? We're not going to look at the February. That's why it's covered up. So we're looking at this here. Food is a variable expense. That can change from month to month. Rent is fixed. Car is fixed. Entertainment is variable. Other is variable. That can change from month to month. Actually, looking at it, his car, typically you would think it would change, but I guess depending on how far he's driving, his car is variable. Food is variable. Rent is fixed. Car is variable. Entertainment's variable. Other is variable. So in each month, the only fixed expense that he has is his rent. Everything else varies depending upon what month it is and I guess where he's traveling to. So if we want to calculate the average expense in each category, what you do is you total up how much you spent in the 5 months prior and you divide that by 5 because we've done this based over 5 months. This is how you can then estimate approximately how much you would spend each month. Now, rent is fixed, so he is spending $650 each month on rent. That does not change. Food. You need to add up all of the amounts he spent on food in the 5 months. It will total $945. You then divide it by 5, and you find out on average he will spend $189 a month on food. So some months it was a little higher, some months it was a little lower. Car. Add up all of the different values of the car for the 5 months. You will get $1,010. Divide it by the 5 months. On average, he'll spend $202 on his vehicle, gas, etc. Do the same with entertainment. The total for 5 months is $605. Divide by 5, it's about $121 each month on entertainment. And then you add up the other. $850 divide by 5, it's $170 each month on other expenses. So now, if we want to create a conservative monthly budget for David, and then any extra income that he has, we're going to assign it to savings. So his regular income is $1,200 a month. It looks like for 5 months anyways, he was guaranteed $1,200. But his variable was really different. If we look back here at all of his variable amounts, $515, $240, $175, $614. There's 2 ways you could do this. One is you could add up all of his variable income and divide by 5 and put that into your budget. However, there are going to be some months where you're way over and some months where you're way under. It will balance out in the end. Or the idea of a conservative budget is to underestimate. So we could take the month that he had the lowest amount of money, which was December, and we could put that in our budget. That's the lowest he had. Now we know anything else is going to be above, and therefore we're sitting pretty healthy in our budget. So we are going to put $175 here. Again, you could do it more than one way. So our total is $1,375 per month in income. Now we need to write what we know, what we just figured out in the previous slide. $650 for rent. The average he spends a month on food is $189. The average on his car is $202. The average on entertainment is $121. And the average on other is $170. If we add these up, it comes to $1,332. So you compare his total income to what he is definitely spending or what we are budgeting for. We see what the difference is, and we allot that to savings. So $1,375 minus $1,332 gives us $43 to put into savings. So the total amount of our expenses is $1,375. So we have our balanced budget. So if David follows this budget, forecast the amount that he will have saved after 1 year. Well, $43 a month for 12 months is $516 in 1 year. And we know that this is probably likely low because we did a very conservative budget and we budgeted the lowest variable income that he saw in 5 months. So more than likely, he will actually be able to save more money than this. And that is how you create a conservative budget. So now you can go and try some practice questions.